It's now time for our next keynote address. Tamur, where's Tamur? Is he here? Yep, here he is. Tamur Goudarzi Pour, who is the newly appointed Group Head of Customer Experience for Lufthansa Group.
Yes, good morning. Hello, everybody. I think it's good to be back here in Amsterdam. Actually, I've just changed job to become the head of strategy for the group. So that is just from this week. And yes, I've been dealing this last summer very much with customer topics. I felt like the fire brigade for our group, where we looked in the third summer in a row in a very difficult operational situation in Europe, particularly. So everybody has experienced it. Your luggage didn't come in time. Flights were cancelled still. We all had hoped that this would have been an issue of the past, but it was not. So, in fact, we suffered quite a difficult summer with our customers, third time in a row. We apologize for that, and we have to apologize for that. And of course, everybody now looks again ahead for the next summer. Can we do it better as an industry? And I have a nice topic today about modern airline retailing, but without getting those basics right, flying people from A to B, bringing the luggage in time, everything else is nothing. So we can talk a lot about modern airline retailing if we don't get that right. It's absolutely basics. And the constraints that will be there next summer, the weather topics will go away, we'll get more. We will have engine issues still there. We will have still delayed aircraft. Our industry is still suffering from the supply side constraints. There is demand. Maybe the peak has gone, but there's still good growth, good demand, not only in Europe, particularly in other regions of the world. But our industry is alive and kicking in that respect. We have to face the environmental challenges as well and the charges, and I think very important is also there the even level playing field that we get for the industry in Europe. But it also is a question of cost. And that's something we are facing as major European carriers for the next years to come. So there will be a lot of constraints and challenges coming. And with this backdrop and with this background, we want to continue to revolutionize the industry towards modern airline retailing. It's very important that we don't stop that. And our efforts continue at the same time. Because this is a long-term game. And in fact, and many of you know this story, we have been leading technologically wise in the early 60s. But that is a technology we're still using today. There's hardly any airline that has managed to move into the new world of a modern backbone, which would allow us then to seamlessly integrate all the journeys, all the experience of the passengers. If you're not a greenfield airline, you work with 200, 250 different systems. And that's something we have not reformed yet. But we're on the way. And last time, I think we have been standing here, we said the train has left the station, so we are on the way. We formed consortium, cross-competition consortium in IATA with everybody who's willing to join. First, tech players have reacted. There's new programs from Amadeus, from Sabre, from IBS, from Flyer, who want to reform the backbone. The system is not yet there. Nobody has it live in action fully. It is a process that will go for years, but it's something we have to do. And each and every airline will have to face that topic at some point. The question is, who is the, can you do the large screen? One screen only? Yeah, if you can do this one on the big screen, please. Who is the one who can manage this? And there's a big opportunity there. And there was a calculation, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, that there would be around 40 billion possibility and chances in terms of less cost and more revenues. This number went up now to 45 billion. It's actually a study that IATA did together with McKinsey. And the opportunities of modern retailing are getting bigger compared to pre-COVID. And that's something where the question is which airline can manage what part of the cake in terms of cost reduction and also revenue increase. And basically we have to face both elements. The backbone at the bottom and this opportunity of 45 billion and your respective share if you're an airline or a player in the ecosystem. Both together are needed. You cannot do one without the other. That's very important. On the backbone, I already mentioned, in a simplified way, we come from a monolith in an oligopolistic market, and we have to divide it and modularize it. I think that's the now established theme in the industry. We need a modular approach. We need to do this step by step. We cannot have a big bang of the backbone. We need to actually work in a time over many years with the old world and the new world coming together, and then step by step change and module by module reform the old backbone into the new backbone. And that will take probably many years. Yeah? The ambition, of course, of the industry is let's do it quicker. Let's do something that gets 100% offers and orders by 2030. But that will not be the same for everybody. So there will be laggards, there will be early movers. And of course, we hope to be one of the early movers. We're discussing this internally a lot for a while already. And we hope to make also a decision fairly soon on how we do it. But that's the biggest challenge of the industry. It's not about glitzy, nice apps only, which are important, but it's also about the hardcore backbone behind it. So, the opportunity. How do you look at that? And that's more a methodology, how you can look at that. When you look at it always from both sides, from a customer and from a production view, you have to see which are really the value pools that you should tackle in terms of bundling, in terms of pricing, in terms of partnerships and third party, what do you on your direct channels, what do you do on the payment side. So the whole value chain of travel retailing you have to cover, and where do you stand there? You as an industry player, you as an airline, you can see this analysis from IATA in the middle, the spider web. That's the yellow is where the industry sees itself by self-assessment, and the arrows, they show where you could go and where you should go and what you have not achieved as an industry. So that's the more interesting part. So how far are you as an airline with your partners in payment, B2B, B2C? We definitely have a lot to do there compared, for example, what we have achieved in the distribution side already. Many have achieved, not everybody. Payment is another topic where a couple of those billions that we are looking at when we talk about 45 are included. So there are a couple of billion of possibilities there. For us, as Lufthansa Group, for example, our payment costs are now larger than our distribution costs. Yeah? So we have to tackle payment at some point as well. And so when you look at the value pools, you can then choose and say where you as an industry player, where you as an airline are now positioned, and where you want to be, and how do you want to invest. And this often takes first investment, and later you get the rewards, and it takes a couple of years. Yeah? So, from the old world to the new world, I think this is fairly understood. The big question is now, will the new tech that is emerging, on one hand on the backbone side, but also with the auxiliary technologies like Gen AI and other topics, help you on the way from the old world to the new world? What is changing now in the last 12 months, 24 months? What has changed already, and what can you now add here? Let's take the example of Gen AI. Where can you add, for example, with Gen AI, certain data for your revenue management system, piggyback your existing revenue management system with additional external third-party data, and this already quite great invention of revenue management from 30 years ago, bring it to the next level. So that's a big question, how we apply these new technologies now. But again, without reforming the backbone, everything else will be very difficult. So that's something you have to do in any case. Then, when we do this, I said you have to marry the production and the customer logic. So how do you do that? And there's this famous end-to-end slogan. You always look everything from with the customer eyes. Do we really do that? Do we really do that with every product that we generate, that we look at with a microscope, again with this customized journey view. Do we do that in every aspect, in every service, in every product that we are designing? So I think we are on the way there, and some do it better than others, but we have not done that fully. And often when we have this very rigid department internally, we have that revenue management department, we have the distribution department, the sales department, that's often still too compartmentalized, it's still siloed. So you have to bring also your teams together to achieve this. And in the end, your own employees have to experience it. So it means employee experience creates customer experience. Only then you can do it. So it's also very much a soft factor. Employee experience creates customer experience. So that we learn from hospitality rather than from other industries. And we learn it rather from hospitality rather than from our own industry. We are not traditionally coming from hospitality. We're coming from metal. Yeah? And some do it better on the service sides and others less, but where can we learn is definitely from hospitality. So that we have to feed in every time we have a development on those modern airline retailing development stories. How would the customer see it from A to Z in his whole journey? Yeah, and in the end, I think it is the question of how we work together. And the story of NDC was one where about almost 10 years ago, we have started that journey, and it took much longer than people thought, because also there were a lot of fights in the industry about, of course, the revenue distributions, the cost distributions, and that's something I think we have passed now. And the big hope is that with the new story of coming to a modern offers and orders world, we will bring those players together earlier. And I think the first signs with the consortium I mentioned and also the other industry developments and partnerships that are emerging, this looks better now. It's still not quick enough, and we need to speed up more. But it's a very good sign that this time it's looking much better. And then I'm closing the circle. All I just said will not work without getting the operations up to speed, up to the level that the customer expects. So for the next summer, again, that will have absolute priority. Operations will have absolute first priority. Only then we can fulfill those promises here on the modern retailing side. And that's a promise we have to give to the customer jointly as an industry. We cannot disappoint them one more time. So with that, I'm still hopeful that this story continues, modern air retailing, from the customer view, from the backbone side, and hopefully also capturing all those great potentials that we all see on the modern air and retailing side in the value chain with so many untapped potentials. There's great opportunity. Let's do that together. Yeah. Thank you.